How are you doing today? Welcome to the Voice Actors Group Panel. Hey everyone, who is excited for our 2025 Voice Actors Group Panel? Let's welcome 6 amazing voice actors who are here in this panel today. We are excited to welcome actor and co-creator of Far-Fetched, Cadaver Dave. Cadaver Dave has worked behind the scenes on Has Been Hotel Pilot and Lackadaisy. You've listened to Dave and Dimitri. Dave is Dimitri and Spoons for Billy Bustup, Virgil for Lackadaisy, and Honus Boogie for Ghost of the Year. We are thrilled that Kari Wahlgren has come to this year's con. Not only is she a recent Emmy winner, but you may know her from one of her many roles. Seiko Iyase from Dandadan, Saber from Fate Stay Night, Celtia's Durara, Haruko from Furikuri, Jessica from Rick and Morty, Emma Frost, Wolverine and the X-Men, Chelsea from Fishhooks, Harley Quinn from Gotham Knights, Ash from Final Fantasy XII, Fu from Samurai Champloo, Kitana and Melina from Mortal Kombat 11, Kagami from Lucky Star, and many other roles, Kari Wahlgren.
Hi! I'm gonna hopefully not blow you guys out with this microphone. Hi, I'm excited to be here.
We are delighted that Kira Buckland is here with us at Zenkaikon. You've heard her as Jolene Cujo from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stone Ocean, Mitsuri Kanroji from Demon Slayer, Kuki Shinobu from Genshin Impact, Chinyi from Zenless Zone Zero, 2B from Nier Automata, Sprigatito from Pokemon Horizons, my starter pick, Mary Saotome from Kakaguri, Queen Dizzy from Guilty Gear, Kuroyuki Hime from A Cell World, Amari Azazel from Marishita Iramakun, and Kamiki from Blue Exorcist, and many more. Please welcome Kira Buckland. You've heard him as Suguru from Jujutsu Kaisen, War Greymon from Digimon, Dr. Neo Cortex from Crash Bandicoot, Jagged Stone from Miraculous Ladybug, Dr. Doom from Marvel Heroes, Firelord Sozin in Avatar The Last Airbender, Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star, Ryosuke Takahashi from Initial D, Sanosuke Sagara from Rurouni Kenshin, Goemon from Lupin the Third, Tucci from Naruto, Flashy Flash from OPM, Yuri from Megalobox, and many more. Please welcome Lex Lang. Our next actor is a voiceover and stage actor who has appeared across the US and Europe on stage and whose voice has been heard in many animation, video games, audiobooks, commercials, and promo work. You've heard him as Magneto from X-Men 97, Doomslayer from Dune Eternal, Ornn from League of Legends, Dragon from Castlevania, Phil from the Croods Family Tree, Codex from Monster High, Heracles from Hades 2, and many more. Please welcome Matthew Waterson. Hello. Hello there. You've heard her in such roles as Jubilee from X-Men 97, Chiki from Blue Eye Samurai, Akame from Like a Dragon Gaiden, the Yellow Ranger Trini from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind, and have seen her in such shows as Players, Elementary, Younger, The Good House, The Big Sick, Camp Wedding, and more. Please welcome to the stage, Holly Chou. Thank you, everyone. So let's get this panel started. So how we conduct this panel is we have some amazing script readings from our guests, followed by some Q&A from the audience. For our first reading, please enjoy this scene from Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, as performed by Cadaver Dave as Beetlejuice, and Kira as Lydia, reading as Jolene Cujo from JoJo's. They really didn't give you a role for Beetlejuice, so, you know.
I'm just gonna do my Alex Brightman, basically.
Okay, excellent. Interior, the Dietz house. Lydia Dietz is desperate to find her daughter Astrid, and her only hope is talking to the ghost with the most.
I can't believe I'm doing this. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
With a loud crack, the Dietz model of Winter Ripper opens up with a large crack through the middle. Screams are heard as in large puffs of smoke, Beetlejuice rises above the model and floats in midair.
The juice is loose.
I need you to tell me what this means.
Lydia opens up the handbook for the recently deceased and hands it over to Beetlejuice.
Let's have a look, shall we?
Beetlejuice brings out a monocle and examines the handbook.
Long story short, your daughter's screwed. She decided to trade lives with that boy. He gets to come back, and she's stuck on the other side permanently. It's a one-way ticket on the Soul Train.
The Soul Train?
That's right. Last stop, the great beyond.
No, she can't get on that train. You gotta get me in there so I can get her out.
Well, I can get you in, but it's quid pro quo.
Of course there is. What do you want?
Well, I got this, ex-wife thing, First of all, she's kind of a whack job. We're through, and she's kind of clingy. If I could just get away from her permanently.
Do you want me to marry you?
Oh, I thought you would never ask.
How do I know that you're gonna keep your word?
Oh, I swear on my dead mother's soul.
Beetlejuice does the sign of the cross. Catching his suit on fire, he quickly pats out the flames.
Okay, fine. I'll marry you if you help me save my daughter.
I'm gonna need that in writing.
Beetlejuice brings out a long contract, pricks Lydia's hand, and has her sign the contract in blood.
And there we go. I'm gonna make you so happy.
And scene. That was everything I'd ever hoped for in Beetlejuice. All right. Reading number 2, scenes from the Barbie movie. Our first scene is entitled Barbie Beach Off. Barbie, played by Kira Buckland, that's Mitsuri Kanroji. Beachkin, played by Matthew Waterson as Dragon. Other Beachkin, Simu Kin and Ice Cream Kin, played by Cadaver Dave as Hunis Boogie, and special appearance of Ice Cream Kin, played by yours truly. Barbie is starting a new day. She heads to the beach and is greeted by other Barbies and Kens. Beachkin decides to show off for Barbie, but just manages to get hurt. The other Kens begin to argue about who could have done the trick better.
Ken!
Oh, hey, Barbie.
Hi.
How much of that did you see?
We saw the whole thing. Let's get you up on your feet, Ken. There you go.
You are so strong.
Use your legs. Oh, there he is. You okay?
Yup, totally.
Looks like this beach was a little too much for you. Beach for you, Ken.
I wasn't severely injured. If I wasn't severely injured, I would beach you off right now, Ken.
I'll beach off with you any day, Ken.
Hold my ice cream, Ken. All right, Ken, you're on. Let's beach off.
Hey, anybody who wants to beach him off has to beach me off first.
I will beach both off. I will beach both of you off at the same time.
But you don't even know how to beach yourself off. How you gonna beach us both off?
Ken?
It doesn't make sense.
Why are you getting so emotional?
So you can beat yourself off.
Come on, Kens. Nobody's gonna beach anyone off, okay?
And scene. Scene 2, the Barbie flat feet scene. Barbie, played by Kari Wahlgren as Chelsea, Hari Barbie, played by Holly as Akame. Narrator and Alan, played by Brandon. That's me. Barbie Anna, played by Cadaver Dave as Tim from Gamecade. Barbie Sharon, played by Kira Buckland as Alex. Barbie Alexandra, played by Matthew Waterson as Phil from The Croods. Barbie Emma, played by Kari Wahlgren as Starfire. And Lifeguard Ken, played by Cadaver Dave as Dimitri. Barbie and company all hang together on the beach. It's pretty fun, but not perfect fun. The Barbies play a wicked game of beach volleyball while the Kens cheer. Great cheer, Kens! Everyone else laughs earnestly, but when Barbie Margot tries, it's forced.
Ha. Ha 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 ha.
Something is wrong. Why can't she really laugh?
Come on, Barbie. Let's run towards the water.
Barbie Margot steps up on her tiptoes and wobbles weirdly on the sand. She can't hold it any longer. Her foot cramps and she topples to the ground. She looks down and discovers that her feet are shock, horror, no longer arched. She's just got big old flat feet. She gasps and tries to crawl herself onto the beach bench. Barbie Alexandra, Barbie Hari, Barbie Sharon, Barbie Emma, and Barbie Anna rush over.
Hey, Barbie, are you okay?
I just fell.
Fell?
I'm so embarrassed.
Barbie doesn't get embarrassed.
Barbie, I don't even have any context for this, but I think my feet are, like, my heels are on the ground.
On a what?
I am no longer on my tiptoes.
Let me see. Flat feet!
Barbie Hari throws up nothing. Same with Barbie Alexandra. Ken Kingsley joins in, throwing up nothing.
Stop it, Ken.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
The Barbies ignore him.
Look, I know I'm stereotypical Barbie, and therefore don't form conjectures concerning the causality of adjacent unfolding events, but some stuff has been happening that might be related. Like, I had bad breath this morning, a cold shower, burnt waffle, falling off my roof.
You're malfunctioning!
No. What? I'm just... Am I? Wait. I've never seen this kind of malfunction. It's usually just hair-related. You know, you're going to have to visit Weird Barbie. Shut up! But I've never had to go visit Weird Barbie.
That's because you've never malfunctioned. I heard that she used to be the most beautiful Barbie of all, but then someone played too hard with her in the real world.
Cut to the real world, with a little girl doing that thing we all do to our Barbies at some point. She snips off her hair, colors her face with marker, lights her hair on fire, puts her in the splits, and drop kicks her to the toy bin. Back to Barbie Margot looking concerned. Barbie Hari is in a trance of the legend of the Weird Barbie.
And now she's faded to an eternity of making other Barbies perfect while falling more and more into disrepair herself. And that we call her Weird Barbie all the time, both behind her back and also to her face. Anyway, you have to go see her.
Gah. That's so crazy. I like it. And why is she always in the splits?
And scene. Script reading number 3, The Lord of the Rings.
Never heard of it.
Our first scene is entitled The Second Breakfast Scene. Aragorn is played by Matthew Waterson as Conan the Barbarian. Mary is played by Lex Lang as Jagged Stone. And Pippin is played by Kari Wahlgren as Harley Quinn.
Gentlemen, we do not stop till nightfall.
Oh, but what about breakfast?
You already had it.
Yeah, we had one. Yeah, but what about second breakfast?
I don't think he knows about second breakfast, Pip. Or how to rock a guitar either.
But Puddin', what about elevensies? Luncheon, afternoon tea, dinner, supper. I mean, he knows about them, doesn't he?
I wouldn't count on it, Pip.
And scene. Scene 2, The Bridge of Khazad-dûm. Aragorn is played by Lex Lang as Suguro Geto from Jujutsu Kaisen. Gandalf is played by Matthew Waterson as Magneto from X-Men 97. Frodo is played by Kari Wahlgren as Fu from Samurai Champloo. Gimli is played by yours truly. Boromir is played by Larry Furley from Zenkaikon staff. You back there, Larry? All right. It also said we didn't cast Legolas. Does anybody want to be Legolas? Someone from the audience? It says Legolas played by Zenkaikon staff. Did you want to do Legolas as well? All right.
You know what? I'm not in this scene, so you sit here.
I like the Fear and Loathing cosplay.
Coming off the bench, I love it.
Okay.
How you doing? How you doing?
There's a lot of narration in this, guys. The Fellowship is traveling through the deep caverns of the Mines of Moria as a shortcut on their journey. They encounter the tomb of Gimli's cousin Balin, but while exploring the tomb for answers about what happened, the Fellowship accidentally disturb the orcs and have to immediately flee.
To the bridge of Khazad-dûm.
The Fellowship run out of the tomb area. Orcs swarm behind them. They glance around themselves to see thousands of orcs chasing them, climbing out of the cracks in the floor, out of the roof, and down the great columns. Eventually, they are forced to stop, completely surrounded by orcs. They hold their weapons out before them. Then a great roar is heard from the archway, which glows red. The orcs look around, very worried. The roar is heard again. The orcs screech in terror and scatter. Gimli grins. A low roar is heard again, and the glowing red draws nearer.
What is this new devilment?
Gandalf closes his eyes and thinks hard, as if he is dreading telling what is there. As he opens his eyes, the red glow covers the entrance path of the columns in front of them.
A Balrog, a demon of the ancient world. Its foe is beyond any of you. Run!
They run as fast as they can, leaving the cavern of columns. Boromir races head down some steps, but suddenly finds the steps end above a great chasm. He teeters on the edge, trying not to fall. Legolas runs up behind him and pulls him back away from the edge. Gandalf stumbled last.
Gojo! I mean, Gandalf.
Lead them on, Aragorn. The bridge is near.
The narrow bridge gaps the two sides of the great chasm. A roar is heard behind them as the fiery red glow draws closer.
Do as I say!
Aragorn looks at him confused. Gandalf walks past him.
Swords are of no more use here.
They turn to the right and run down the steps in front of them, which wind their way to the bridge. Suddenly, they reach a break, a gap in the staircase, which is too wide to step over. Legolas nimbly jumps the gap and looks expectantly at the others. Gandalf looks puzzled. They hear a roar again behind them as the roof above starts to crumble. Gandalf! Gandalf jumps over the gap to join Legolas. Arrows fire out of the air, narrowly missing Boromir and the hobbits. Legolas turns, aims one arrow, and shoots the orc, firing directly in the head.
Merry! Pippin!
Boromir takes a hobbit under each arm and jumps with them. As he does so, a greater chunk of the steps they were standing on falls away. Legolas continues to aim at the orcs, firing at them, killing them.
Gojo! Sam!
Aragorn picks up Sam and throws him across the gap to Boromir, and then looks at Gimli. Nobody tosses a dwarf. Gimli takes a mighty leap and lands teetering on the other side. Legolas reaches out to stop him falling, grabbing his beard. Mind the beard! Aragorn fires an arrow at the orcs as Legolas pulls Gimli to safety. Suddenly, more of the steps they have left fall away. Aragorn throws Frodo to safety further up the steps and clings onto the stairs as a great portion of them fall into the chasm. The gap is now too wide to jump. The rest of the fellowship look worried. Frodo wobbles on his feet.
Steady. Hold on.
The doorway entrance behind them glows red. A great roar comes out from just behind it. The doorway and the roof above crumble, and a great chunk of rock falls from the roof into the staircase behind Aragorn and Frodo, creating another great gap. They are now isolated on the staircase. The column on which this part of the staircase is begins to crack, and the staircase sways.
Hang on.
The staircase on which they are standing continues to sway from side to side. Everyone looks frightened.
Lean forward.
The staircase sways and then falls forward towards the rest of the fellowship.
Come on!
Aragorn and Frodo jump. Legolas grabs hold of Aragorn, Boromir, of Frodo, and they run down the remaining staircase. The part of the staircase they were standing on collapses completely, falling into the chasm. They run into another room. The whole place is now in flames.
Over the bridge. Fly.
They run past Gandalf, who turns towards the growing flames. From out of the mists of the flames, a great black winged creature with a horned head appears. He roars at Gandalf, breathing fire from his mouth. It walks after them with great strides. One by one, the fellowship crossed the narrow bridge, Gandalf taking up the rear. Halfway across the bridge, he stops and turns to face the Balrog.
You cannot pass.
Gandalf! Try not to kill each other!
The Balrog stretches its wings and draws itself up to full height in front of Gandalf.
Ooh. I am the servant of the secret fire, wielder of the flame of Anor.
The Balrog reaches down and draws its sword in front of Gandalf and holds it high above his head.
The dark fire will not avail you. Flame of Udun!
The Balrog brings its sword down upon Gandalf, who protects himself with his staff, bringing a crash and a flash of great light. It drops its sword and roars at Gandalf.
Go back to the shadow.
The Balrog puts out a cloven foot onto the bridge. He wields a great fiery whip above his head.
You shall not pass!
Gandalf raises his sword and staff above his head and brings his staff down hard upon the bridge. The Balrog snorts at him, raises his whip, and takes another step forward. As he does so, the bridge collapses, and the Balrog falls into the chasm. Gandalf grunts and turns to walk away. As he does so, the tail end of the Balrog's whip snakes up and around his ankle, dragging him down. He clings onto the edge of the bridge. Frodo dashes towards him, but Boromir holds him back.
No!
Gandalf!
Gandalf tries to hold on by his fingertips.
Fly, you fools.
Frodo struggles against Boromir's hold. Aragorn is looking on in disbelief.
Aragorn!
Boromir takes Frodo and runs. Aragorn pauses, then turns and runs, dodging the arrows firing after him. They run outside, leaving Moria. The fellowship all collapse, heartbroken. The hobbits are crying. Legolas looks forlorn. Boromir hugs an angry Gimli. Aragorn wipes his sword.
Legolas, get them up.
Give them a moment for pity's sake.
By nightfall, these hills will be swarming with orcs and filthy monkeys who can't even use jujutsu. Reach the woods of Lorthan. Come, Boromir, Legolas, Gimli, get them up.
Aragorn reaches a tearful Sam and lifts him. On your feet, Sam. Aragorn pats Sam on the shoulder. Frodo. Aragorn sees Frodo walking away in the distance. Frodo! Frodo stops walking and turns to face Aragorn, tears rolling down his face. Aragorn now leads the remaining fellowship away from the rocky hills. Aragorn runs ahead across the stream and stops, looking down at the woodlands below, and smiles. And scene.
Nicely done, Larry.
Boy, that was a lot of narration. Give me a moment. I need a moment.
Big hand for Larry.
I need a moment.
Yes.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Larry. All right, this is script reading number 4. What We Do in the Shadows. In this scene, we have Laszlo as Cadaver Dave, reading as, says, the bartender from Monkey Wrench.
I can do that if you
All
want.
right. Nadja is Holly, reading as Teddy Ruxpin from Camp Wedding.
A possessed Teddy Ruxpin.
Possessed Teddy Ruxpin, yes. And Guillermo is Matthew, reading as Virgil from Fallout 4. What We Do in the Shadows, The Cursed Hat. Guillermo and Nadja are waiting in silence as Laszlo enters the room while putting on a hat seemingly made of flesh.
I found it. Thoughts?
Looks like it's alive.
Good eye. It's 100% witch skin. Simon was always very jealous of this hat. I can't wait to see his face when I walk in.
Please don't wear that hat.
Too stylish?
No, it's a big, bloody, stupid hat with a big, bloody, stupid curse on it, and every time you wear it, something bloody, stupid, terrible happens.
Nonsense. Gizmo likes it, don't you?
It's Guillermo.
Scene cuts to Nadja alone in a chair talking directly to the audience.
Laszlo's stupid hat. It's got a bloody huge curse on it. I have tried to throw it out many times, but it keeps crawling back. Literally.
Scene cuts to Laszlo alone in a chair talking directly to the audience.
I acquired this hat while draining the blood from a Bavarian Hexenbrenner, or witch burner. He must have noticed me eyeing it, because in his last dying breath he said, "Take my hat. It's Yes, it is cool, I thought. Free hat, even better."
Scene cuts back to Nadja, Guillermo, and Laszlo talking about the hat.
Think of all the things that have happened. The potato famine, the time the horse knocked you over and trampled over you.
No, it didn't.
Then it started making love to you.
I don't consider that a curse.
It's growing human hair.
Exactly.
Laszlo sidesteps to reveal a young man behind him.
Our new familiar. He likes it, don't you, Dustin?
It's Justin.
Yes, have a touch.
Laszlo takes his hat off and touches Justin with the tip, causing him to fall backwards into a bookcase, which falls on him, killing him.
That was our new familiar.
I do.
It's that bloody cursed hat, Laszlo!
It's got nothing to do with the hat. It's the bookshelf, which I charged you to fix.
Laszlo puts the hat back on, and suddenly, The floor gives out underneath him, and he drops down to the floor beneath them.
This hat is not cursed.
Scene ends with both Nadja and Guillermo looking annoyed at the camera. This is now scene number 5 with Lex Lang. This is a particular set of skills. Brian Mills, as played by Liam Neeson, is an ex-CIA agent who is checking in on the phone with his daughter Kim on her Paris trip, only to find out that she and her friend are being abducted. The abductor picks up the phone. Lex will be reading Brian's part as the doorman from Curious George.
Hey, Hundley, a note. Let's see. Oh, my goodness. George has been kidnapped. I'll get it, Hundley. Hello? I think you've got the wrong number. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. If you're looking for ransom or bananas, I can tell you I don't have money. But what I do have are a very particular set of skills. I know how to clean the lobby. I'm very good at dusting. They're skills I've acquired over a very long career. I've been here at the apartment for 16 years. That makes me a nightmare for people like you, who I assume is messy. Now, if you let George go now, well, that ought to be the end of it, right, Hundley? Oh. I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. Hold on, Hundley, I don't even know who this guy is. But if you don't, I will look for you, I will find you, and I'll make you clean the lobby with me and Hundley. Scene.
Reading number 6. Charlotte's Web. This is with Kari and Holly. Now, Kari, they had listed your role for Charlotte to be either May Parker or Ma Kent. They didn't come to that determination, so we're going to let you choose right now.
Well, okay, so unless you guys want to shout out a request from the audience. I see a hand. You shout it out. Rick Ship. Okay, so I'll do the first little lines as May Parker from Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and then I'm going to do Rick Ship partway through, or vice versa. We'll see. Maybe I'll start with Rick Ship. Okay. All right, I got you.
And then we have Holly as Jubilee from X-Men 97. Please enjoy this scene from the classic children's book Charlotte's Web, where Charlotte the Spider and Wilbur the Pig meet for the very first time.
Salutations.
What?
Salutations.
What are they? And where are you? Please tell me where you are. And what are salutations?
Salutations are like greetings. When I say salutations, it's my fancy way of saying hello or good morning. Actually, it's a silly expression. I'm surprised I use it at all. As for my whereabouts, that is easy. Look up here in the corner of the doorway. Here I am. Look, I'm waving.
Charlotte waves to Wilbur. Wilbur looks about frantically until he sees Charlotte.
See me now?
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. How are you? Good morning. Salutations. Very pleased to meet you. What is your name, please? May I have your name?
Like, my name is Charlotte. Like, that's how you talk.
Name's Jubilee. I blow stuff up. Wait, Charlotte what?
Charlotte A. Kavatica, but just call me Charlotte.
I think you're beautiful.
Well, I am pretty. There's no denying that. I mean, almost all spiders are really nice looking, and I live with Peter Parker, who has a weird fascination with spiders. I don't know. I mean, I'm not as flashy as some, but I'll do. I wish I could see you as clearly as you can see me.
Why can't you? I'm right here.
Yeah, but I'm nearsighted. I've always been dreadfully nearsighted. It's good in some ways, but it's not so good in others. Hey, watch me wrap up this fly. So first, I dive at him, okay? And next, I wrap him up. You could do the sound effects for this. You're like a superhero, right? Yeah. Okay? And then there. Now I knock him out so he'll be more comfortable. See, he can't feel a thing now. He'll make a perfect breakfast. Yeah.
Ew! You mean you eat flies?
Yeah, certainly. Flies, bugs, grasshoppers, choice beetles, moths, butterflies, tasty cockroaches, gnats, midges, daddy longlegs, centipedes, mosquitoes, crickets, anything that's careless enough to get caught in my web. I mean, I gotta live, don't I?
Well, yeah, doy, of course. Do they taste good?
Delicious. Of course, I don't really eat them. I kind of drink them. I drink their blood. Yeah. I love blood.
Gross. Don't say that. Please don't say things like that. Ew.
I'm going to switch to Emma Frost. Why not? It's true. I have to say what's true. I'm not entirely happy about my diet of flies and bugs. But it's the way I'm made. A spider has to pick up a living somehow or another, and I happen to be a trapper. I just naturally build a web and trap flies and other insects. My mother was a trapper before me, and her mother was a trapper before her. All our family have been trappers. Way back for thousands and thousands of years, we spiders have been laying for flies and bugs.
That's gonna haunt my nightmares. It's a miserable inheritance.
I feel like I've been reading too much. Do you want Charlotte? Yeah, pick a character.
My God.
I'm putting Lex on the spot, but he's a pro.
I'll just make one up.
Yes, it is. But I can't help it. I know how the first spider in the early days of the world happened, and I think this is a fancy idea of spinning a web. But she did, and it was clever of her too. And since then, all of us spiders have had to work the same trick. It's not bad. It's not bad at all on the whole.
It's cruel.
Well, you can't talk. You got your meals through your pal or your pail. I haven't got my glasses on,
Read
so
much?
it's either a pal or a pail. Nobody feels me. I have to get my own living. I live by my wits. You know how hard it is to do one of these webs? It's rather difficult. I have to be sharp and clever lest I go hungry. I had a cricket once that was really quite tasteless.
Did you hear me say ew?
I did. I've got to think things out here, catch what I can, take what comes. And just so it happens, my friend, that what comes is flies and insects and bugs like this one right here and the big thing. Oh, he's not dead yet. Furthermore, you realize that I can't catch bugs and eat them. Bugs would increase and multiply and get so numerous that they destroy the earth, wipe out everything. So I eat them.
Loser. But I wouldn't want that to happen. Perhaps your web is a good thing after all.
Damn right. It's a bloody good web. Check this out. I put a little stereo up here. Got a little TV set here. It's made for insects. No channels on it. I haven't got cable. But besides that, pretty dope place, wouldn't you say?
It's no arcade, but it'll do. Well, I've got a new friend, all right, but what a gamble friendship is. Charlotte is fierce, brutal, scheming, bloodthirsty. Everything I don't like. Kind of like a Wolverine I know. Anyway, how can I learn to like her? Even though she is pretty and, of course, clever.
Damn straight.
And scene. Charlotte's Web Zenkaikon edition. And finally, we have another favorite. It's time for our children's book reading. Of course, that was a children's book as well, but we're going to be actually reading a book. This is going to be If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. Cadaver Dave will be reading as Virgil from Lackadaisy.
If you give a mouse a cookie. By Laura Nemiroff. Illustrated by Felicia Bond. I need a shot. If you give Virgil a shot. If you give a mouse a cookie, he's going to ask for a glass of milk. When you give him the milk, he'll probably ask you for a straw. When he's finished, he'll ask for a napkin. Then he'll want to look in a mirror to make sure he doesn't have a milk mustache. When he looks into the mirror, he might notice his hair needs a trim. So he'll probably ask for a pair of nail scissors. When he's finished giving himself a trim, he'll want a broom to sweep up. He'll start sweeping. He might get carried away and sweep every room in the house. He may even end up washing the floors as well. Holy crap! When he's done, he'll probably want to take a nap. You'll have to fill up a little box for him with a blanket and pillow. He'll crawl in, make himself comfortable, and fluff the pillow a few times. He'll probably ask you to read him a story. You can say no, by the way. So you'll read to him from one of your books, and he'll ask to see the pictures. When he looks at the pictures, he'll get so excited he'll want to draw one of his own. He'll ask for paper and crayons, and he'll draw a picture. When the picture is finished, he'll want to sign his name with a pen. Then you'll want to hang his picture on your refrigerator, which means he'll need Scotch tape. He'll hang up his drawing and stand to look at it. Looking at the refrigerator will remind him that he's thirsty. So, a whiskey? Oh no, okay. He'll ask for a glass of milk. And chances are, if he asks for a glass of milk, he's going to want a cookie to go with it. Audible.com presents.
All right, guys, now it's time for some Q&A for our actors. Please make a line in the center row, and Tim Powell will be there to help you out. Come on up to the center aisle.
Hello, name's William. I think Kira knows me from Facebook. How's it going?
Hi.
Anyways, got a more of a journalistic sort of question here for my cosplay, of course, because, why not? So, with the rise of AI, taking jobs, how can, younger voice actors who want to get in on the business cope with, potentially being screwed over by the machine, pretty much?
There's a video game strike on right now about this very issue. There are a couple of different kinds of contracts that have AI protections in there, put together by our very, very, very diligent negotiating committee. SAG, not everybody's union, so the SAG negotiating committee. But they're trying to be pretty diligent about anticipating any possible loopholes and making sure that the language is tight to offer these kinds of protections. So, young, up-and-coming voice actors, I would say one way that you can help yourself out is to make sure to only submit for safe contracts.
Good. Also, a little inside joke between me and Kira here, but Rena Chan, Radio Graffiti.
And one other quick thing about AI, there's a website called Nava, which is North American Voice Actors. Nava has an AI writer that is not union specific. If you are auditioning for anything, you can go and get that writer and ask for it to be attached to your contract. If you're starting out, for most of us up here, there is a lot of us online already. So if somebody really wanted to go to the internet, scrape and put something together, they could Frankenstein something together. But if you're starting out, get that AI writer from Nava and have that attached to your contracts. That will help you whether you're union or non-union, and you actually are in a position to make sure that there is not a bunch of your stuff out there that somebody can feed into a machine, Frankenstein a version of you together, and stop paying you.
It's really important to read your contracts because sometimes they'll try to sneak things in.
And we're not saying that AI should go away. We're saying that just the actors that are being replicated should be compensated for their performances that originally did that. AI is going to be around for a while. We're just saying that if you're going to use it as a tool, pay the people that you're, creating the AI around.
And tell them how you plan to use it.
And exactly,
give them
tell
a
them
choice of whether they
exactly. Keep the human in the mix is what I say. And remember also, as a voice actor, there's only one of you, no matter how good AI gets. As long as you protect yourself, with those contracts and those specifics in the contracts, that you can keep shining your own creative ability.
Hello.
Hi.
So I'm sure as a voice actor, there are going to be days like this, but when you get up in the morning one day and you're like, I really don't want to go into the booth today, if you're feeling burnt out, how do you overcome that and get that final push to actually go and be enthusiastic and do the work you need to do?
Coffee. And if that doesn't work, you get a second cup of coffee. All kidding aside, I mean, there's always days, no matter what job you do, where you just don't quite feel like it. But for me, I just come from a place of gratitude. Like, I have to remind myself, man, I feel so lucky and grateful that I get to do what I do for a living. And so if there's any sort of voice that creeps in and says, I don't feel like doing this, I say, shut your pie hole, inner voice, because I get to make cartoon voices for a living, or I get to go in and, pretend to be an anime character and do a video game voice or something like that, and you just remind yourself to be really grateful.
That's it. What I was going to say.
I was a butcher for 8 years before I did any of this, so I just think I'm like, well, I could be cutting up meat, or I could, do funny voices. So I'm do that. So it's just a thing where it's like you count, like they said, you count your blessings with what you have. And it makes you appreciate it a lot more. It's better than, any cup of joe.
When it comes to auditions, too, sometimes you just have to get in there and do it. I mentor a lot of newer and younger talent looking to do this, and a lot of times they say, well, they think they have to be in this perfect headspace to do auditions, but when you're working regularly, you're represented by an agency, you get auditions with a lot of times less than 24 hours deadline to turn it in. So you just have to do it, even if you're not feeling like, oh man, I'm so inspired artistically. And sometimes you just have to kind of get in the headspace. You break down your copy, you get in your headspace of the character, and you just perform, and you do a few takes, and you send off what you like best. And that's where just I think having good acting foundations and training your acting instinct comes in, because then you can kind of make those choices even if you don't feel particularly creative in the moment.
Thank you.
Hello. Lex, I'm coming for you later.
Okay, good.
Okay, so I actually just started taking voice acting classes through Closing Credits like a couple of weeks ago. Just started. 6 auditions in, I finally got an actual role. So
Congratulations.
That.
That's a great ratio.
Yeah.
That's better than mine.
And that was, funnily enough, my question. Can you guys give me, and obviously you guys have worked way longer than I have, just some insight on like what your ratios look like as far as, you know what I mean? Just to give hope to like those people who are, starting out, to be like, don't worry, you don't have to nail it like that fast.
It depends on the day. No matter what stage of your career you're at, there are going to be really slow periods, and there are going to be periods where, like, you book 6 things in a row, and you don't have an explanation for it. It really depends. Like, you have no way of knowing what those that are casting want. And there are times, I think Jennifer Hale said this in one of her like Skills Hub videos or something, but that like sometimes the industry is just like, sick of you, and then, no matter, you're doing the best, this amazing work that you do that has been very popular in the past, and at that moment, they don't want you for like a couple of months. Who knows, Hopefully it's not a couple of months, but I think that's the, true professionals know that you're never sure if you're going to work again.
Right.
I think the nature of auditions also is once you do them, you let go, and you don't like keep thinking about them afterwards, And if I get, I've been doing this is my 31st year doing voice acting, and if I get 1 out of 100, I'm feeling blessed. I'm feeling blessed anyway. Like Kari said, I wake up and I'm so grateful that this is my career. But literally 1 out of 100. And you might get like 3 in a row, and then 250 that you don't. You'll just let them go. They're next. And then something right for you will come up. And, because a lot of people audition. So a casting director might have 400 auditions that they need to listen to. But when they get to audition number 13, they go, that's the perfect voice that I've been looking for. And they won't listen to the rest of them. So it doesn't mean you're doing a bad job. It just means maybe that casting person got to the one that they think is perfect for the role, and they don't feel the need to spend another 5 hours listening to auditions, yeah? So just remember, don't take anything personally, because it's really not about that, and then just keep doing them, just keep cranking them out, and you'll eventually land some stuff, yeah.
I'll tell you this, I have to take the folder of audition files off of my computer at the end of the year because I can't keep previous years. And it's between 2 and 3 terabytes. And if you think every audition is an MP3 that's, I don't know, like 3 megabytes, 4 megabytes.
Something like that, yeah.
That's how many auditions that's how many auditions in a year that I record and send out. And you can see that I'm not doing 400 jobs a year. So that's a ratio. That's a hard numbers idea on ratios.
And it's really not about rejection. A lot of people think, I got rejected if I didn't book a job. But like Lex said, if you have 400 people auditioning for the same roles, and these are all actors who are really talented, trained with good agencies, all this kind of stuff, that does not mean the other 399 actors were bad or they did a bad job in their auditions. Sometimes it's just the casting director, the client, whoever is making the final decision, here's that one, and they're like, this fits my vision for this role or this project the best, and it does not mean you did a bad job.
All right, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Good question.
And congratulations.
All right, so obviously you guys have had a slew of voice roles, some of them being ranked, I would say, legendary amongst the wider community. So my question would be, if someone was to come up to you right now with a contract in hand, what voice would you want to do over again?
I don't know if I'd want to redo anything.
Or should I say reprise more than redo?
Oh, okay. So that's a different one. So are you asking like what one we'd want to come back and play again?
Yeah.
Okay, team.
For-
I just didn't want to spend all, I didn't want to hog the mic.
For me, it'd probably be Batman or Han Solo. Those are 2 that I really, really enjoyed. Anybody else?
I'd love to do Fu. Like Samurai Champloo is one of the ones that, if you haven't checked it out, you guys, it's a beautiful
Great
series, hip hop soundtrack. It was really groundbreaking at the time, and I really am hoping that someday they'll make a sequel.
Honus Boogie was the first voice I ever did for Gooseworks, and it was like my first big role. And because Digital Circus obviously exploded, I like fingers crossed that eventually maybe get to go back to that universe at some point because I really love that character.
Absolutely, Jolene Cujo. Obviously, that's not happening again because each part of JoJo is kind of self-contained with a new protagonist and new timeline, but obviously it's one very special.
I'd actually probably go back and do Droll from Troll Hunters, because it was a blast. The people on that project were incredible. Any chance to work with any of them again would be great.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a good question.
Hello? Is the mic working? I can't
Yes, it
tell.
is. We can hear you.
Awesome, great. So my question is, for each of you, is there like a scene that was, I guess, your favorite? Like either it was really emotional, it was just the voice was fun to do, something like that. A scene, a line, I guess it would depend, but.
It might be an obvious answer, but the Motendo episode of X-Men '97, I got to have some dialogue. We didn't record together, but it was played back to me. But it was very moving to essentially act against the original voice of Jubilee in the animated series, Allison Court. It was amazing.
Well, I would say a couple moments that stick out to me were one of the finale episodes of Witch Hunter Robin which was very, very emotional. And then there were, a couple of scenes from the Fate Heaven's Feel movies that were just heart-wrenching. And because when you do anime, you get to see the animation and you get to hear the score. So to hear that orchestral score in my headphones and be recording these really emotional, heartbreaking scenes was just very powerful.
I'd probably, again, draw at the very end of it when Droll dies, it's sort of him and Jim, and the Jim at the end was not the Jim at the beginning, because Anton passed away in the middle of production, so he was replaced for the last sort of season and a half. One of the amazing things that they did was that they kept all of Anton's efforts for the entire show. So Emil Hirsch came in, who's a friend of his, and filled in at the end, but they kept Anton's efforts so that his family still got paid for the entire series. So for outside reasons, that one sort of sticks.
I knew his voice sounded different towards the end, but I wasn't sure.
And they wrote in for that because they needed to figure it out of how to sort of justify it. But because they sort of switched the character into then being part troll to give an explanation for why Emil's voice was different. But they kept all of Anton's yells and grunts and efforts and breaths and things so that they could fulfill his contract through the end of the series to his family.
That is beautiful, by the way. What a beautiful story.
Are there any JJK fans in the audience today? Yeah? Okay, cool. Gato, he has this like descend into darkness, right? And so all those emotional scenes were pretty intense. But once I was like hooked on the show, I started reading the manga, and I was really excited about doing the scene where Gojo gets put into the prison realm finally. And I just remember like having chills run up and down my body when I finally said, "Good night, Satoru Gojo. Let us meet again in the new world." Like to me, it was just like, literally, it was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then the other scene was when Gato was talking to the Star Religious group, and he was taking over all of, he's like now taking over and renaming them and everything. And he's got the mic and he's like tapping, "Is this on?" And he says, "From now on, you'll all obey me, and I'm changing the name." And they kind of clamor in the audience, and he's already resolved in this new thing about like killing all non-sorcerers. And he hears them clamoring in the audience, and he looks around and he goes, "Well, that just won't do." I love that. It was just like so powerful, and it like, wow, he's ready to really do some damage to these guys. And so that scene in particular was pretty cool. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you
Good question.
Hello.
Hello.
For anyone this might apply to, has there ever been a point during your careers where you've considered committing yourself to what unpleasant people would call a real job and leaving acting behind? And if so, what kept you in the business?
That's the assumption that most actors are able to subsist off of acting income alone. I mean, that's not a given. I've only recently, I only quit my day job end of 2023. So, and Trader Joe's always there in case. So, you never know. I never know.
I think a lot of us have had other jobs or do other things in addition.
I've worked in retail since I was 16, and I've done voice acting, writing stuff, everything I've done for different projects in the animation scene. This is just a sad truth. I've never made more money in any of this than I have than when I worked as a butcher in a supermarket. And while obviously I enjoy this more, that's just the sad reality. So I've even considered maybe just a couple days a week going back to do that, because it's if the world ends, I know I'll be able to do that at least, chop up meat. So.
Yeah, I mean, my wife and I are both voice actors, and so we have kids, so we're in a constant state of is one of us gonna get a job? The ups and the downs of it. There was also a certain amount of, I got to an age where I'm like, well, all the options out of university are kind of gone now, because it'd be weird to go back and try and get a job in banking at 45, where everyone else is 21 and out blowing through mountains of cocaine. I don't have the nose for it anymore. So I'm kind of at this point. This is what we do. But there's always the threat is not the right word, but there's always the reality of at any given point everything may go into a lull, and if nothing else, just for your own reassurance, you may have to go and pick up another job just to make sure that you feel sort of secure.
And there's no shame in it.
Yeah,
no,
not at all.
Do what you gotta do.
Lex is just reminding me of a great
I
story.
was telling her I was telling her a story about, I was directing at this studio called Bang Zoom, and Kari was working on a show, and they had this tiny little lunchroom, basically, in the studio. And I was standing there, and Kari was talking about how she had to get to work, and she was just debating, how long she would juggle both voice acting and her regular job. And I said, Kari, you've got all the talent you need. You just have to go for it. At some point, you have to spread your wings and fly. You have to make the commitment to go to this other side, just creativity. And look, she's like an Emmy Award-winning voice actress now, and just incredible, So.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
So I actually have a question for Kari specifically.
Okay.
I hope I can answer it.
So during the run of Ben 10 Ultimate Alien, your character Charmcaster was more written as kind of a redemption arc. They were kind of leaning in that direction, although she did kill the main trio. And even some of the writers were in favor of that.
Spoiler.
But then by Omniverse, she was then written to be completely bonkers again. So my question is, were you more in favor of Charmcaster maybe being a bit more of a redeemed villain like Kevin, or her just being totally evil unapologetically like Dagon or Vilgax?
I mean, that's a great question. Obviously, especially when they do reboots or they're, kind of reforming the new show and everything, I didn't have a lot of say in where they went with her character. So from an acting standpoint, it was kind of fun to play all of the different sides of her. I did personally love the redemptive, the redemption storyline. That was a lot of fun to play, and I just kind of felt like there were just a lot of layers to her character in that version that I really enjoyed. But, anytime they reboot a show, you never know if you're going to get to replay the same character. So I was just thrilled that I was able to play her for 3 different versions. So
4 if we want to be ultra specific, but yes, same idea, yeah.
yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
question for specifically Matthew and Lex. I was wondering what you guys' techniques were for powerful voices like Magneto or scenes with Gato.
Wanna go first?
Go ahead, you go ahead.
It's a mix of things. Honestly, I remember a few years ago there was a panel that my wife actually went to at SAG that she came back and was talking to me about, and they had a couple of actors up there. They had, I think, Darren DePaul, I think Crispin Freeman, and then there was like an ENT. And at a certain point in it, the ENT sort of, because people kept asking to Darren and Crispin, like, well, how do you do the orcs and the demons and the thises and that's? And they were sort of talking through, and honestly, a lot of it for Darren, for me at least, and I think for Crispin as well, is vocal training that came out of theater. But at one point, the ENT also stopped and sort of said, I want everyone to understand that what Darren does, most people can't do. There's something just about the way his voice is put together, in the same way that there's a lot of stuff that I don't get asked much to do like kids shows, because if I try and do like a kids thing, they're still like, well, that's terrifying, so stop doing. We're not going to put that in a kids show. Like, this can't be for like preschoolers, because you're going to give them nightmares.
Yeah.
But a lot of it for me came out of vocal work in training to do theater. So it's a case of like, if you're in a room this big and you're doing it 8 times a week and you're doing 2-hour shows where you're going through classic theater or something, and so you're going from you killed your child because you didn't know it was your child, and then you slept with your mother, and now you're burning your town down, and you have to go through every emotion, and you've got to project it to the back. Like, it turns out that's really good practice for being able to do big, powerful voices.
I would say also sometimes big, powerful characters don't have to be giant voices. Like, they don't all have to be rude, like just big, giant voices. Sometimes it's more about the character themselves. And so where you find that power is by understanding the character. Who am I? What do I want? I even go as far as saying, what is this character grateful for? Like, when I'm trying to think about like the character. Who am I? What do I want? What am I grateful for? And, also what is, the characters, how do they experience their own daily life? And you get that information from the director usually. So when you get there, you inquire with the director, like, tell me more about what some of these answers could be for this character. And with anime, it's, we get there, we're basically cold reading. We don't get the scripts in advance like Western animation, like Justice League or whatever. For those shows, we get the scripts in advance, and we get to like dig in a little bit with what the characters are about. Like for Dr. Doom or whoever, we can research a little bit. But with anime, we get there, we get to reference the Japanese so that we can take on some of what the emotional content is of the original performance. But we don't try to mimic them, we just try to bring our own to that character. And we ask questions to the director that help us build the strength of that character. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Hello.
Hey.
Who is your biggest inspiration as you were coming into the industry?
For me, I get him looking at me.
It was for everyone, sorry.
For me, Frank Welker, who plays everything, a zillion characters. He's one of the greatest voice actors. And then Mel Blanc, of course, was also very big for me. Yeah. Anyone else have any?
For me, it was Paul Frees, the original voice of Ludwig von Drake and the ghost host from Haunted Mansion and Burgermeister Meisterburger. And I just always loved, like, because Mel Blanc's a legend, but I always felt like he was sort of like the more like underrated, like, side to Mel Blanc, and I just love his stuff. So.
When hinges creak in doorless chambers.
Anyone ever been to the haunted house? Okay, no.
I was inspired by a number of people. I know that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
You didn't even give me a chance, Lex. Come on. But yeah, I've loved voiceover since I was 5, and there have been a number of people that really inspired me over the years. I mean, Jodie Benson was a big one and Paige O'Hara from the Disney Princess movies were really big. And then Tom Kenny and Dee Bradley Baker were people that I really, really looked up to and was fortunate enough to work with early on in my career. So I felt like I had a chance to sort of learn from the best, and so I still look up to them professionally. And yeah, so many, but those are a few.
And D. Bradley Baker, also for anyone who's aspiring to be a voice actor, he created one of the greatest sites called iwanttobeavoiceactor.com. So if you've not been to it, go check it out. You'll get all the information you need how to build your career.
If anybody in that line is saying, what advice would you give to people who want to be voice actors, that website, he started it to answer every question that he's been asked at conventions. So everything from like tech things in your setup to creating characters. iwanttobeavoiceactor.com. It's an amazing site.
Fantastic.
I'm just gonna repeat myself all like the rest of my life, but it's gonna seem like all I ever do is talk about X-Men, but that literally was my inspiration, the Saturday morning cartoon. So I was very much inspired by Lenore Zan and basically everybody on the show. Jennifer Hale, specifically as Felicia Hardy in Spider-Man the animated series, and C.B. Barnes as Spider-Man, and Brian Drummond, I think, who was the voice of Vegeta when Dragon Ball Z first came to Adult Swim, or Toonami.
I have a lot of them, but I'm going to embarrass myself here and say one of my very early inspirations was Kari.
I'm sending you kisses.
I have somewhat esoteric ones. It's actually Peter Sellers and Spike Milligan. So everybody knows Peter Sellers from... Yes. So everybody knows Peter Sellers as like a movie actor, but in the 60s, 70s, they had a radio show called The Goon Show where Peter Sellers and Spike Milligan and Harry Seacombe, but Sellers and Milligan each had about half a dozen to a dozen characters, and it was like a rep company, and they put them in a different script every week, and I listened to that going to bed as a kid. So what they could do in that just sort of landed. And then more recently, honestly, Hank Azaria.
Yeah.
Like both in The Simpsons and then in live action, like the voices that he uses in his live action stuff as well is wonderful.
If I could quickly say one more too, I'm a massive Vincent Price fan.
Oh.
And just his radio stuff, his live action work, his work in animation, just any of that stuff. Like that guy's like my spirit animal. I love everything about him, so I'd say that too.
And Monty Python too. When we were kids, we used to do all the Monty Python skits. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Tyler. I'm going to at least try to come here a couple other times, but my first question is for Lex Lang. What convinced you to take the role of Dr. Neo Cortex?
It was actually an audition. I had to do an audition, and it was a sound-alike audition because Neocortex had already been established. And I just did the audition, let it go, and I got a call back saying that I got the part. Yeah, that simple.
Nice.
Thank you.
All right, so as a voice acting aspirant who's kind of just hit the point where he's thinking about audio engineers, no union, none of those connections, I know my way around Reaper, but I'm looking for like a proper audio engineer who can do some wizardry to come up with a Reaper effects chain that can really make my voice shine in as many situations as possible. Would you know where I could find someone like that?
I think George Whittam does that for Twisted Wave.
George Whittam.
Yeah, George is probably the first place to go.
All right, just that specific guy? Is that...
There's a specific need, and he's filled it,
All right, George Whittam.
All right, he's the Grim Reaper, apparently. So.
Quick bonus question. Would you like some ribbons for your badges?
It depends on what they say.
Super Earth Patriot.
Okay, well, I'll take one.
All right.
You're a hell diver.
Do you have enough for the whole class, though? Okay.
All right. Actually, just leave them on the end of the stage because I know people want to ask questions. So I'll be Mama Hen and just be like, just leave them there, sweetheart, and we'll get them later. Let's keep the line going for question. But thank you.
Yeah,
If it
thank
had said like I hate puppies, then I wouldn't have taken
No.
it. Right? Can you imagine? Can you imagine like
And don't forget to tip your
That would've been
moderator.
bad.
Please leave me one as well.
Said, out with you.
Like, okay, yeah. I was like, wait, you hate puppies or you ate puppies?
Oh, well, both would be equally bad, right?
Well, yeah, that was what Holly was like. Don't even ask the question. They're both.
No, I said I
eating
hate
puppies.
puppies, but I ate puppies would actually be
Worse.
not so great either. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There we go. Hi, this is a question specifically for Lex. So you've done a lot of work over the years with like Digimon. I wanted to know if you have like a favorite moment or like that you voiced or favorite Digimon you voiced, and also if you have a favorite like personal like Digimon.
Omnimon, I really loved. A personal moment was from the movie when War Greymon is kind of almost withering away, and then everybody starts sending in their emails and all that, and then he's like, I feel them. And he starts like coming back to life, and then, the rest ensues. But yeah, those were my personal moments.
Thank you. Theoboromon's my favorite.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah, cool. That is awesome.
Hi, I'm a little bit nervous. I'm sorry.
Hello.
So my question's for Lex.
Uh-oh,
I know to stay on the topic. So sorry, no. To go back to the topic of JJK.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever have a like really funny moment recording in the booth for the show, and why would that be your funniest moment?
That's a good question. A lot of people think that whenever he's talking about monkeys that it's like a funny moment, but as a character, he's always in a very intense space, so it's never really like funny. I did think it was funny when he was in the film, I believe it was, when he was using the monkey spray, he was like doing the deodorant. I got a little laugh out of that, like he went that far. But for the most part, that character has always been pretty intense, and there's not a lot of laughs when I go in. It's more about like, oh, wow, he's really in a big dark space. Yeah.
I just want to say JJK has become one of my personal favorite animes recently, and you do an incredible job in
Aw.
it. And thank you for bringing life to this character, and just a general thing for all of you. Thank you for just being an inspiration to me as someone who wants to get into the voice acting community.
Oh, thank you.
You guys are fantastic.
That's wonderful. That's so sweet. Thank you.
We've got about 10 minutes left, guys, so please try to make your questions brief.
Speed round.
I would also like to say, though, if we don't get to you and get to your questions, you guys are more than welcome to come down to our exhibition hall and chat with our guests at their table today.
Yeah, we'll be at our tables after this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Please come see us.
Yeah.
Hello, first
Hi.
thing. Lex, you have a mullet.
what?
Last time I saw you, I was like,
What do I have?
it's like a mullet.
No, when I pull this out, it gets real long everywhere. Yeah, just pulled
okay.
back.
I was like, what's happening?
No, no, yeah, thank you.
Recommendations because
For sure, dude.
No.
What have I done? But I know for people who want to get into voice acting, a lot of people want to be on that end of the stage. But would you recommend doing things like commercials or doing other things that wouldn't necessarily you would think of when it comes down to voice acting?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's so many different types of voiceover, and I really encourage anybody, please don't limit yourself to one thing, because I think all of us want to do as many different things as we can. There's commercials, there's instructional videos, there's audiobooks, there are talking toys, So yeah, lots of different opportunities, and I think we all audition for anything that we can.
Yeah.
I think.
Water finds its own level, so if you just submit for everything, you'll sort of figure out what you like best and where you seem to be, ticking all the boxes for the casting.
That's a great point. Keep doing all of them, and you'll decide on what brings you passion. Like what you're passionate about.
Personally, I just like doing villains because they have the most fun.
They do have a lot of fun.
The first thing I ever did was a radio commercial for Piggly Wiggly supermarkets.
Yeah.
So
yes.
It's a lot of fun.
I understood that reference.
I think in general, your goal as an actor should just be that you want to perform, that you want to act, regardless of what that medium is.
Yeah.
And if I may add, one of the guests I've had before at another convention was someone that does any kind of voice acting under the sun, Mr. Dino Andrade. And he told me, it's really nice to do work and be recognized as a character, but the money is in advertising. The money is in commercials.
I said this yesterday, but there's like a Charmin Bear thing. Like that's the only reason I don't have a day job now. But the most money I made at first was for saying hi Marshawn in a Subway commercial. Like that paid more than like every other job that I've booked, I think, since except for Charmin.
Amazing. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your con, okay?
Yeah, you too. Have fun.
Hi, my question is specifically for Lex Lang. So, your first appearance as Dr. Cortex was, of course, in Crash Twinsanity, which was obviously over the top, silly, wackadoo, crazy.
Super fun, yeah.
But it wasn't always meant to be like that. Crash Bandicoot Evolution was supposed to be a lot more serious. So, my question to you is, do you know how you would have portrayed Dr. Cortex if it wasn't going to be in this more comedic, over-the-top, campy route that Crash Twinsanity ultimately took?
Well, they told me when I came in for that particular game, that it had been a little too serious for what everybody wanted. Not the fans necessarily, but for what the producers and the game creators wanted. It was Clancy Brown, who's a terrific on-camera actor and a terrific voice actor. He's like in SpongeBob and Mr. Krabs in SpongeBob, and he does like a zillion other things. He's one of the most talented guys out there, a friend of mine. And when I got there, they said, okay, we like what you did for the audition, the sound like, the race is mine. It was sort of very, powerful. And, but they said, we really want to lighten it up a lot. We want to bring some humor to the game. So they did two things. One is they said, after each line that's written, improvise. So just totally improvise and make it really flamboyant and really fun and really megamaniacal and just have fun with it. And so that particular game, a lot of what you hear in the game is improvised. So we did the line and then I improvised and a lot of that made it into the game. And so from that point forward, every time I would go in, and still to this day, like even when we just did It's About Time, when I come in, they kind of give me free rein to improvise as much as I'd like. And that's how it went from being real serious to being more comedic, because I have a strong improv background. Yeah.
That is actually very interesting to know. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. That's a good question.
Hello, my name is Sam Dorstrom, and I have autism.
Hey, Sam.
I have a question for Kari and Kira. Out of all the characters you play, which one is the cutest to you?
Oh my goodness, the cutest. Well, it's hard to pick one because I think that there have been some pretty cute characters. But right now, I'm really liking Seiko in Don to Don because I think it's about time to bring cute grannies back. So so I'm thinking Seiko's pretty cute for a grandma. Yeah. Kira?
Sprigatito, the little cat Pokemon.
That's a good answer.
It's because I love kids.
I have 5.
I'm very sure they'll be just like you.
Thanks for your question.
Thank you.
Such a great question.
Nice meeting with you, Kari.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
Unfortunately, everyone, we have time for one more question. This is going to be our last question.
But the rest of you go to the tables of the people that you want to talk with.
Please come visit us in the exhibition hall.
Yeah, it's downstairs.
Hello. My question is for Lex. At the end of Jujutsu Kaisen 0, Gojo says something to Geto, but his words are censored in the manga and the anime. I was wondering if you had any theories on what...
I think he talks about KFC or fried chicken or something.
Yeah.
No, but I asked the producers about what was said there, because I also wanted to know, a lot of people ship those two characters together. I've seen some amazing art where they're like in each other's arms and doing all this crazy stuff. And I was like, well, do they have a romantic relationship? What's the deal with that? And according to the people at the top, I guess, they say that they do not have a romantic relationship, but they love love each other deeper than the deepest soul brothers could ever love one another, and they really were the one and onlys for each other as the deep soul friends. And so my theory is something to the effect of, now Keiji, who plays Gojo, knows what was said because it was actually written in the script as a possible line for him to say, but they kept it out like they did in the Japanese. But basically something to the effect of, our love will continue beyond this moment, or something like that. Yeah, so it was very profound that, because he knew he had to kill him. And so he was like, our love will go on besides this moment here.
Thank you.
All right, guys, thank you so much.
No, wait,
that is the voice actor panel for Zenkaikon 2025.
We've got
Wait,
one more
there's
little
one
gal.
person
Yeah,
here
we got one more person.
that's
Let's
being
just have-
escorted.
yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, let's just one more.
Okay, one more
Last question.
All right, one more question.
Final tour.
Muscled your way in. Come on.
Thank you. So it's kind of a two-part question. One, how do you take care of your voices between all of the different voices? And two, how do you make sure that when you are on a project, the contract, you're getting those royalties? Because I'm a part of a project called the Happy Health Squad, and there's something in my bones telling me that even though I'm doing a great job being Stamina Ninja, someone may make it so I'm only getting paid to give my voice, but not getting anything once it's out there.
I will answer that quickly if you guys are okay with it. So, first of all, I think everybody has a different way of taking care of their voice. It can differ from each person. Vocal rest is very important. And if you're doing a vocally stressful job, you need to know what your voice can do so that, you don't do 2 or 3 screams on a video game job and then suddenly you can't work for another 4 hours. So you have to kind of find in your body, like put things in your diaphragm and make sure that you're asking a lot of questions to make sure you find out what they want before you just start screaming and blowing your voice out. As far as the other thing, there are not royalties on every voiceover job. It really differs from job to job, so you just really need to read your contract. You may be working on something where there are no royalties. And it's important that, you just understand the scope of what they're using it for. So if you're doing something, there may be something in your contract that says that they can use it for a toy, or that if they have to do a trailer that's advertising the project or something, that they may be able to use it for that. So just read your contract, and if it's a union project, SAG-AFTRA on their website has a lot of great information. If it's not, NAVA, I have to say again, it's N like Nancy, N-A-V as in Victory A. NAVA is a really great resource to ask a lot of questions if you have questions about what you're doing. So I hope that helps.
It does. Thank you so much.
All right.
The other thing is, don't ever audition. Don't ever do a voice for a 2-minute audition that you cannot sustain for a 4-hour session.
Yeah, that's great.
Very good point.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys so much.
Love you. Come see us.
Thank you so much for coming out, everyone. Have a great and safe Zenkaikon 2025. We will see you down in the exhibition hall, Freedom Hall A.